Three, two, one, and we're on.
Okay, hey Jason, how have you been? It's been 1 week, actually more than 1 week since we last spoke. How are you doing?
I think it's been 1 week, man. Calm down.
It's been 1 week. No, it's the last time we talked was on a Tuesday, so it's been more than 1 week for sure.
The last time we talked was on a Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean the last time we recorded was a Tuesday for sure.
Okay, fair enough. Are you saying that you miss me, Oscar? You miss my voice?
Nah, I'm with my friend. I don't really miss you. I don't really need you that much anymore.
God damn, you could have
I
at
have
least
friends now. I have friends now, Jason. I have friends now.
you could have at least lied since we're recording.
Nah,
Oh my
I'm trying to
god.
stay away from the lies, you know.
Holy shit. Okay. That's how we're doing things now. My god.
How are you doing though? How's been the week?
My week has
Minus work. I
been
know that's always hectic, but minus work, how's the week been?
quite interesting actually.
Yeah, what happened?
I have been at my most mentally demanding school
Okay.
because of it's a very big school. The classes are very large
Mm-hmm.
body of students.
Mm-hmm.
And they're young kids, so they're always making noise, and you always have to
Mm-hmm.
watch what they're doing. So it's that way you have to always be paying attention because one of them is always doing weird, right? And
Okay.
on top of that, they're very genky kids. So if you go there to like the school and you're not like, whenever I'm not mentally prepared, it's like I kind of get mentally worn out, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
also staying at the hotel doesn't help. Funny enough, like at the hotel,
Mm-hmm.
this was the first week where I tried to get
Yeah.
um 8 hours of sleep in the hotel.
Yeah.
What usually happens is when I stay, okay, so the school is far away from my house, right? So there's no, for
Mm-hmm.
people who don't know, I can't take a train home because by the time the last class finishes, there are no return trains back to my apartment. So I have to
Mm-hmm.
stay in a hotel, right? And I stay in the hotel for the duration of like 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 days in which I come back home, like today. And then
Yeah.
on Friday, which is tomorrow, I go back and I stay in the hotel and then I come back home on Saturday.
Okay.
And yeah, so that moving up and down is stress on its own, but staying in the hotel. So previously my routine was like I stay in like a restaurant and there's this internet cafe next to the school. So every
Mm-hmm.
time I finish the last class, I go eat there. And
Okay.
there's pretty good restaurants and like a ramen bar and stuff like that all around, yeah. So there's always like things to go do or like
Mm-hmm.
chill. This place is to chill basically. So I'd probably get back at the hotel around 1 or 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe chill for another 1 hour, listen to music, read a book, watch Netflix or something, and then sleep at 3, and then wake up for breakfast at like 8 or 9, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that was like my regular routine whenever I'm staying in the hotel, right? But then what would happen was that the next day when I wake up, even though get maybe 5, 6 hours of sleep, I would always still feel tired. Even though it's like uninterrupted sleep, I would feel tired. So this week, I'm like, okay, I am going to force myself to get at least 8 hours of sleep. And guess what happened? I slept
What
at like
happened?
midnight. I was waking up at 8. Guess what happened?
What happened? Better classes?
No, I still felt fucking tired. So it was just like something is happening. Like I am not comfortable in that hotel. I don't know if it's the bed, it's the sheets, it's the room, the energy. I don't know what the hell you want to
I
call
don't
it.
know. I did read this that when you sleep in a bed that isn't your regular bed, a part of your brain stays awake because it wants to be alert in case something were to happen.
I have read something similar, and that's pretty much very much the case because when I wake up, I still wake up and I feel like it's like I haven't slept that much. 8 hours of
Yeah.
sleep feel like what, 4 hours, maybe 5 hours of sleep.
Mm, mm.
And then I go eat breakfast, come back upstairs, maybe do something, and then I feel like sleeping again because I'm still tired, you know. Then I have to go and go and teach these like 4 or 5 classes of like, I don't know, 10 plus kids, you know, for the whole day. And then it's a 6 day school. So I'm doing this for 6 days. So it's a very mentally demanding school. But the interesting thing that happened was that this week has been fun, like quite fun. I haven't been stressed out as much from the teaching itself. So what I realized was that my main point of contention when I go teach at the school is basically like my rest. Whenever I'm not at the school, when I'm at the hotel, it seems like somehow I'm not getting enough rest. So that's something I need to figure out, see what I can do. But yeah, it's been unexpectedly more fun than usual. I don't know if the kids are just happy to see me. I don't know, whatever. It's just been fun.
Okay, that's good. So I haven't been thinking so much about work. Like work is just work, so I don't want to deal with that so much. It's just that's my regular life. I want to focus on other things after that. For me, it's been just packing, leaving my home in Kanzaki, like sending everything to Osaka. I learned something very interesting this week, or rather on Saturday when the movers came. So in Japan, I assume in all countries, right? When you move into a new apartment, you give the real estate agent a deposit fee, right?
A deposit fee.
Yes, and that deposit fee is meant to be returned to you if there are no damages left in the apartment that you're living in, right?
Oh, when you're first leasing, like on the lease contract, right?
Yes. So what happened is, on Saturday morning, the movers came to my apartment and took away everything, right? Late in the afternoon, the real estate agency, the real estate company came to my apartment, and I thought they were just coming so I could give the key back to them. But that's what happened. They came in, gave me their meishi, their business cards, and then they told me to just wait a minute as they look around the house. So the two guys came, and these two guys spent 20 minutes literally scrolling the apartment up and down, looking for any damages, anything small. Whenever they found a scratch on the wall, they'll put like a fucking marker over there, like pinpoint, like this is where there's a scratch here. And after they were done, one of the guys took me around the house to show me where all the damages are. And from those damages, they told me, okay, it's going to cost this much to fix this much to fix this. So we're going to deduct all that from your deposit. I was so surprised. In Kenya, we never did that. Like when you're leaving a house in Kenya, you just leave. Just drop off the key at the real estate agent's office, you know?
Okay, when I moved out, they came and checked for damages for sure. Like the caretaker had to come and check the room and inspect it before you leave, right?
Yeah.
But your point is still very solid. Like, that is insane. Scratches on the walls are not supposed to be counted as damages because that's the regular wear of tear when somebody lives in an area or in a room.
Here's the thing, because the real estate agency wants to rent a house that's in a good state to the next tenant, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if there's any scratch on the wall, they have to remove the wallpaper in that area and put new wallpaper over there. Like the funny thing they told me is that this is the funniest thing they told me, that in the bathroom, right, the mirror in the shower, right, because maybe I wasn't cleaning the mirror enough, so he told me that the mirror has some stains that just can't be washed out, so they have to take out the mirror and put a new mirror there. I'm like, what? This is something you do? You bring a new mirror every time someone leaves? That really surprised me.
That doesn't sound right. Surely it's 2020. What do you mean you have to take out a whole mirror because it's stained? What?
Yeah, because there's some stains there that can't be just washed out.
That's very interesting, actually.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the same everywhere. Yeah, I wonder. It's surprising.
Definitely not in Kenya.
Definitely not.
You tell people these stories, they'll be like, what the hell's going on in Japan? The fuck?
When my brother and I first moved to our apartment near USIU, we were the ones who had to clean the apartment when we moved in.
Same here. I had to clean my apartment when I moved in, when I was living by myself.
But in Japan, when they came to check, they told me that some of the cost is for them to clean whatever dirt is left in the apartment after I had already cleaned everything. So they come and just clean the corners and stuff, clean the things that maybe I didn't clean so nicely. So they have to clean everything. So when the new tenant comes, they find a perfect, stainless apartment.
Mm-hmm.
No dust, no nothing.
And that counts. So when they're counting the cleaning costs, are they giving you the cost for cleaning everything again, despite them just cleaning the corners, like what you're saying?
Well, I don't know what they're exactly cleaning, but there's definitely a cleaning cost. But it's not like a crazy fee. It's nothing expensive. Maybe like 2,000 yen. It wasn't so a crazy price, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway,
Well,
that price was already in the deposit, so it's not like I had to remove money from my pocket to give it to them, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
It's
The money
funny
is coming from my own deposit.
you bring this up because basically me and you are doing the opposite. I've been thinking about work more, and you have not
Yeah.
been thinking about work. Because you know what? It's funny enough. Um, I was okay coming into the Psyche week. Psyche is the name of the school, right? So coming into the school at Psyche, right?
Mhm.
I was very much like mentally taxed because I just want a holiday, honestly, right? It's been long, and I've kind of gotten into that feeling that like everything's like a loop and a cycle,
Yeah.
which is a very bad feeling to get into. I don't know if you've ever entered that
I
feeling
think everyone has been there. Everyone has been
when
there.
when you've been working at a certain job for long enough, and you just enter that, like it's like you're working a program. Every time you wake up, you're in this loop, and it just keep on. When you come back home and you sleep and you wake up, and it's a loop. You keep on doing the exact same things over and over again, talking to the exact same people, talking to the exact same kids. It's like at some point you're just like, this feels horrible. You don't want to be. It's like you're an NPC. You're a non-playable character in a video game, yet you're still conscious. So it just feels you don't feel like you're free. And
But
when you
isn't
don't
that?
feel
I
like
think
you're free,
that's life, though. That's not just work. That's life. That's life for most. Yeah, that's actually just life. Everyone is kind of a non-player character. You mean you live in the same house with the same people, you talk to the same woman who's your wife, or the same man who's your husband, to the same kids who are your kids. Actually, like in life, in everyday life, there's most people, including you and I believe, we're not aware enough to appreciate the newness of every moment. So everything tends to seem similar. I think that feeling of being in a loop is just our lack of awareness, our lack of being in the moment.
you are right. Which is what I was leading into actually. Why this week felt different. But anyway, building up the whole, like I was feeling like I was in a loop, right? Especially in Usuki. So my last week, right, the school I was covering at, I was in autopilot. And you know, when you teach at a school or you teach long enough, there's some sections, especially once you've done the same curriculum over and over again, there's some sections where you start autopiloting, right? Because you have built up like a sort of mental muscle for the whatever you're teaching, for the knowledge and stuff like that, right? And that allows you to focus on other things and other places of the class, whatever's happening in the class, right? And the problem is that now, like, I was autopiloting a little bit too much, and I wasn't, like what you're saying, I wasn't being in the moment. And that it wasn't like I was teaching bad classes, but I was definitely off. And we all have days that were off, right? But like,
Yeah.
I had like an off week, man. Like the whole week, I just felt like I was not mentally there at all, you know? And I was really thinking about it. I was just like, hey, man, maybe I really do need a break and I need to like go somewhere and do something else, you know? Because I think it's hitting me now more than ever because I haven't gone out. Like, literally since I was with you. How long ago was that, Oscar? That was a month ago?
August. Oh, so not August actually, right? No, it was a month ago. Yeah, probably a month ago.
A month ago. But even, okay, that was one instance, right? Even before that time we went out, I hadn't left or gone out in like 3 months. So in the last like 4 or 5 months, I've literally only gone out like once. When I say go out, I mean like go out, try to have like some sort of social like interaction with other people in a public setting that aren't my coworkers. That sort of outing, you know? Or like just going out with friends. I've literally just been seeing students, coworkers. And I guess that's how I fell into the loop in the first place, or that like that feeling of being trapped, you know?
Yeah.
And now, okay, so coming into this week, I was just like, if I go into Psyche, the school that's mentally taxing, my most mentally taxing school, while I'm autopiloting, I will mess up. Like these kids, some of these kids, like they're really, really energetic. If I don't focus, I will really mess up some of these classes. So I went in and I was like meditating almost like I was meditating like 3 times a day, man. Honestly. And I reached a point where I don't want to say it was a new level of awareness, but I reached a different, like I have a different perspective in which to view my life. And the best way to describe it is like, remember that quote about emptying your cup? That's what I did, because I'd realized the feeling of being in a loop and feeling that I've been trapped is all coming or stemming from this feeling of me, my cup being my life, my cup is full. And really, it was just full of nonsense and noise. So I was just like, let me just empty my cup. And when I empty my cup, let me just see what's there. What's there in the moment, right? I'm like, look past all of these different layers of social conditioning, expectations, and stuff like that. Look past all of these like feelings that you're bringing out from different places. And what I realized was that a lot of these places weren't even like, they were coming from places within my mind that I didn't even know, or which I can't even know if they really represent me, right? And that's another complex idea I would like to get into, but just to keep it simple for now, is that basically I felt like I was running a program. Let's just call this program Jayson, right? I was running this program called Jayson, and Jayson isn't necessarily a program of my creation. Does that make sense?
It does.
So Jayson in this case is like Jayson that has, so Jayson, so the program that is Jayson has, like, he's been programmed, like he has the programming of like being a Kenyan in him, right? He has a program, like it's all of these like different experiences and different layers of social conditioning that has been like formulated to form this thing, this consciousness that is Jayson, right? Like, okay, let me ask you a question, Oscar. When you go to a club, right, and somebody asks you a question, and the question, you don't even necessarily, like, does it hit you that you don't necessarily even think about what is true? You just sort of like just shoot from the hip and you just say whatever's coming to your mind, even if some of the things aren't true.
But what is truth? So what does that mean? How will you define the truth?
So you could be lying about something. Like if somebody said,
what's the question? You know, maybe am I lying because I'm a pathological liar, or am I just lying? Am I just making a statement that just came randomly? What's the reason why I'm lying, and what is truth by your definition?
So maybe okay. So if you go to the club, right, and you're talking to a random person, and they ask you a question of like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" And you say, "I teach," right?
Okay.
And then maybe you say something like, "I teach at this company, and this company does so and so." And again, it's not even about when you're telling somebody else about things in your life. Is the truth like what you value the most? Is the truth always what you're thinking about? Is what I'm trying to get at.
When I'm talking about my life, I'm not thinking about the truth. I'm just thinking about explaining about my life, because like there is no truth. If I tell you a story about my life, as far as you're concerned, it's either truth or you don't know whether it's true or false.
Okay, that's true. But you are purposely, at times you purposely tell things that stem so far away from, even if you add that level of subjectivity to your experience, whatever you've experienced in your life, right? Whatever you think you've experienced. I'm talking about like things that just didn't happen. You know, you weren't born in USA, Oscar. You were born in Kenya, for example. Those are the kinds of lies I'm talking about. When you're in those specific social situations, sometimes it's easier to put it like this. When you're drunk, Oscar, do you lie? Like, you lie, how much more often do you lie than normal Oscar?
I think drunk Oscar lies less than normal Oscar. I think drunk Oscar never lies, actually.
He never lies. Okay, so
He
what
never lies.
makes normal Oscar lie more than drunk Oscar?
Normal Oscar would lie because he expects to gain something by telling the lie.
And
Drunk Oscar is too drunk to give a fuck.
what part of the normal Oscar programming has made him that way?
I can't pinpoint anything in particular.
You
But
can't.
I can just say I do that. I can't pinpoint anything in particular, but I can say drunk Oscar will lie about some things, maybe not big things, just simple things.
Have you ever seen the programming lines? Have you ever seen the lines and the numbers in normal Oscar's thinking and programming and said, hey, this doesn't make sense?
Well, to be fair, many things in my life don't make sense. Like even the things that are true, some of them wouldn't make sense, but they are there.
What do you mean?
So why do I lie? Why do I lie? Same thing as why do I smoke? That doesn't make sense. I know I might get cancer, but I'm still doing it, right? So I don't think there is no. The question is why. The question why why would you lie? Isn't a reasonable question. Because why then would I smoke? Why then wouldn't I be working out every single day? Why wouldn't I not be trying to start a business? Right?
But so here's the thing: where do those ideas come from?
What ideas?
Even your very idea of you questioning that, like, are these ideas that you're picking up from your environment? Where are these ideas coming from?
Of course, like the idea that there is an Oscar that is real, that's not true. There's no Oscar that is real. Oscar is just a coalescence of the environment, of his family, of his culture, of his upbringing, of the experiences of this individual life has had. There is no Oscar in essence. There's just a biological being that has a consciousness that absorbs these experiences and adds these experiences into a thing that it calls Oscar itself, and the external world acknowledges as Oscar. But there's no Oscar in essence. There's no like the real me. That idea of a real me it's not true. It's not true. There's no such thing as a real me.
And you basically like pointed out the point is of what I was thinking about this week. The idea of Jayson. That's why for me it's easier to think about it as like a program, right? The operating system being like what you said, your biology. So our body exists, like your body will breathe, right? There's like some base programming. You don't have to control your breathing if you don't want to, right? Your body will just do what it was made to do.
Yeah.
But then you have this thing that's on top of it. That's the software on top of the hardware. You have this extra layer of like, what? Abstraction, complexity, whatever you want to call it, right? That's the consciousness. And now your consciousness, when you talk about like, what is Oscar? And I was just saying, what is this program that is Jayson? And like what you said, it's just like Jayson doesn't really exist.
Yeah, Jayson doesn't exist.
Jayson is just like...
Funny thing, you used to mention this. I was last year when my wife gave birth. I was sitting after she gave birth, I was sitting in her bedroom with her, back in her parents' house. And we were just silent, right? Just waiting for our baby to fall asleep. And I caught myself looking into her eyes, and she was looking back into my eyes. And I thought, like, every time when that happens to me with random people, I find myself falling like, fuck, what are they thinking? But in this moment, I realized that there's no reason for me to panic, because whatever I know about myself that I fear the other person might know, the other person probably doesn't know. So when I look into someone's eyes and I feel judgment, I'm the one who's implanting judgment into their eyes, right?
Yes.
And there's this thing, like, I realize, look at my baby. I can look into Raha's eyes and I know there's nothing there. She doesn't understand anything that's happening. But there are moments when I look into her eyes and I feel judgment. So is Raha judging me, or am I just judging myself?
And that was like, man, this is wonderful, because this is the exact same thing. There was last week I had a moment where I felt this strike of anxiety in a train. I'm not really sure why. So I had walked into a train where there was a lot of high school students staring at me, right? Like a little bit more than usual. But it reached a point where it was just like, I felt very uncomfortable, right? And that's one thing. Usually I would, you get used to being stared at as a foreigner in Japan. People are curious. It's whatever, right? But for some reason, I got hit with some huge anxiety in the moment. I was just like, these people are judging me. These people are thinking this. These people are thinking that. And it's like what you said, when you really look at it, right? You're like, in the moment of trying to find what is real in that moment, what was real during that experience. It's like
The only real thing is that you have eyes on you. That's the only real thing.
exactly. Everything else was just like me
It's your imagination.
seeing
It's
what I want to see. Like
Mm.
my consciousness is like it's like I was in a hall of mirrors, right?
Mm.
Whatever I felt at that moment was being reflected right back at me. And
This is something that I was told once, that in Japan, intense eye contact is considered aggressive. So this is what I do. If I catch someone looking at me, I look back at them until they look away.
they always look away. But
Yeah,
I've
so
done that
just
too. They
don't
always
stop,
look away.
Yeah, lock eyes until they look away. And that way, like, hey, do you feel uncomfortable with this? Then don't do it to me, you know?
There's so many times where I've just felt like, okay, you're staring at me too much. I'm gonna stare at you. Like what you said, you just have to step back, and they still look away, and you're like, yeah, that's right. Just look away. Anyway, going back to this thing, like, oops, sorry, going back to this thing, right? So what is real in that moment? You know, what is real in the in those fleeting moments that bind together, that make up like the timeline of our lives? If you were to like pick up one moment, let's say in today, whether it was like you in the shower, you talking to like a student, you talking to like anyone, or just relaxing in the train, or just chilling, you know?
I will say this. Anytime two people open their mouths to talk, most of it is unreal. It's not true.
So now talking with somebody like me talking to you is weird.
It's not real. It's not real. It's not real.
It's
not
like
real. There's nothing real happening here. I'm making sounds based off of concepts or experiences I have had or learned, right? You're doing the same thing. But whatever is coming out from my mouth isn't a real representation of what's going on in my head. It can't be. Language isn't that articulate, right? And it's the same for you. The same for most people. Actually, all people, I would say everyone, right?
Yet language is still strong enough to make us feel very deep emotions. It can still move us.
It moves us, right? Of course it moves us, right? But you know what moves you more than language? Hearing a baby cry. That baby isn't speaking a language, but the screams, that is gonna move you. That's gonna move you.
They can both.
When a baby laughs, that's gonna move you.
They can both be moving.
No, but we know what is more moving. To understand a comedian's jokes, there's so many layers of concepts you need to understand before you understand why the joke is funny, right? To understand why this piece of poetry is deep. Why do people love this piece of poetry? There's so many concepts and stories and like history you might want to know before you can understand why people appreciate this piece of poetry. But when a baby cries or a baby laughs, no matter where you're from on this planet, you're going to understand why that's good or bad, right?
So you're saying there's a deeper my towel just fell. There's a deeper not state of being, there's a deeper action. Okay, so let me just go first to what you were saying about like talking, when two people talk. I feel like when two people are talking, it's almost like you're trying to connect your brains to one another and exchange information, like two computers exchanging information. And sometimes nothing gets exchanged, you know? Because
most of the time it's nothing. Most of the time, I feel like most of the time it's nothing.
Let's not even say directly link up. It's like me sending you text over Wi-Fi. And sometimes, and the Wi-Fi is a bit dodgy. Let's say the Wi-Fi has bad signal. And sometimes the message just doesn't hit properly. Or you download pieces of the information, but you don't download everything. Or sometimes it's just straight up mistranslated. Because who said that my computer has to be in the same language as your computer? So there's all these different like weird levels of like miscommunication that can happen. So in that way, I do agree with what you're saying, that language isn't perfect when it comes to like the exchange of information or the exchange of ideas between two people.
So this is the thing. Hey, I'm not a linguist. Whatever I say, once again, as I said in the last episode, is coming out of my ass. This is what I think.
Man, we're all talking out of our ass here, man. That's the whole reason of the podcast. The podcast is trash.
This is the podcast is trash. The podcast is trash. Huh? I like that. This podcast is trash.
It's trash.
So this is what I think. Language is nothing more than a means of categorizing the world.
Yes.
This tree is tall. This tree is short.
It's a tool. It's a tool.
Yes, exactly. It's nothing more than a tool of categorization, right? However, if I'm angry and I tell you, hey, Jayson, I'm angry, you'll get one thing from that. Or I can literally just run to your face and just scream at your face. Which one do you think will have more of an impact? Me telling you, hey, Jayson, I'm angry. Don't do that. Or I just scream at your face.
Okay. Obviously, the screaming.
Exactly. And I think no matter where I am in the world, if I scream at someone's face, they'll know I'm either angry or frustrated. Something bad is going on, right?
Yeah.
But this is the thing with language. Like, I tell you, whenever I say A, when A comes out of my mouth, what is in my brain isn't really A. It's a breakdown of several things that can only be coalesced into A by my mouth. Right? There are universes upon universes in my head that can only be articulated as the letter A by my mouth, right?
Yeah.
And when you hear A, it's going into your ears and into your brain, and you're trying to break down A as much as you can to get a feeling or a sense of what is happening in Oscar's head. But there's no you're getting the whole thing, because even Oscar wasn't able to speak out the whole thing.
There's no way that I construe A the same way you do. It's like virtually impossible.
It's not possible. It's not possible.
So,
yeah, so I feel, like I said, like talking is, and then on top of that, going about the concept of like, is Jayson real, is Oscar real? Talking is the worst way to discover what is real. And that's why you hear about Zen Buddhists and even like the Hindus who speak of silence. 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 In silence, you discover what is. Because speaking, nothing real comes from speech. Nothing real comes from speech. Because the speech is nothing more than me trying to describe the things that I have read, the things I have heard, the things I have seen. But even I, as Oscar, I don't quite fully understand everything I've seen, heard, or read. So for me to speak it out is kind of unfair to the person who has to listen.
Okay, I wouldn't say unfair, really.
Okay, unfair. I fuck. You know what? Okay, you don't know what I mean. The point is, actually, this is actually a good point. This is a good point. Like,
yeah, I don't know what the fuck you meant by unfair there.
No. Think about this. In my head, I know what I want to say, but when I use this word, even though in my head it makes sense, it's not making sense to you, right?
So if I say you're using the language ineffectively, the English language ineffectively, what if I made that argument?
Yes, you can definitely. Hey, Jayson, I'm not good with words.
So it's your fault.
Definitely. Or another option is if I use the same phrase, another person might have understood what I'm trying to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me give you an example. Like when I was a kid, my youngest brother Peter, he was 2 or 3. He was just starting to speak, right? And whenever he would speak and he would try to make a sentence, for me and everyone else who was living with us, we could understand what he was saying. And we thought like, oh, he's speaking so clearly, we can understand him, right? One day we went to my cousin's or my friend's house. And Peter came up he just followed me and my brother up to my friend's bedroom, my friend's bedroom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Peter was trying to say something. And my friend asked me and my brother Patrick, what is he saying? And me and Patrick were like, what? You can't hear what he's saying? He's saying this. It's obvious. You know, it's like, it's so clear to us what he's saying. But to this guy who hasn't been spending time with him, it's like, what is he saying? What is he saying? You know? It's like he's hearing a new language.
I think that happens a lot with babies who are still learning a language.
Yeah.
You know, they're still learning their first language. There's a point in which only their parents can understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I've seen that too with my cousins too, like my baby cousins. I was just like, my aunt understands exactly what he wants. Like this, he wants milk, he wants milk, he wants food, and he's just like, he's not speaking English. What is he saying? You know, from your
But the funny
perspective,
thing
he's
is,
not speaking any language. It's not Swahili. It's not Kiswahili.
but
It's not English. It's just like, what's going on?
but for me, like when Peter was at that particular age, he was actually speaking words. He was using words. Maybe he couldn't make coherent sentences, but he was using words. And maybe the way he was using the words, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a coherent sentence. They were just throwing a bunch of words together, hoping to string something up, right?
It's low resolution, basically.
Yes.
Whatever he's trying to say.
Yeah.
But you haven't been around him enough. You can understand him.
Exactly. And isn't it the same with most people, right? Think about this. How clear do you speak? Do you think everyone you speak to understands everything you're trying to say to them?
No, actually, one of the most amazing things why I enjoy talking with you specifically is because I feel like I'm focusing the most when I talk to you, because I'm trying to, I don't know, whenever I talk to you, Oscar, it's when whether we're recording or not recording, right? I really try to get my point across. For me, it's very much like an activity of like, can I make Oscar truly understand what's going in my head? With other people, I don't have the time. No one has the time and the bandwidth when you're in a real social situation where everyone's talking, things are going around and left and right. It's like, you just say something, maybe you have like another extra minute to elaborate what you meant, but people by that time already judged what you spent when you originally mentioned a statement, right? People already made up their minds. You don't have that much time. You don't have that much bandwidth to really explain to yourself. Explain to them, what you meant and what you mean or what you're trying to convey, what ideas you're trying to convey. But like, that's why when I talk with you, I'm like, maybe that's a testament to why we talk so long, because it's like me and you and like a weird philosophical mental jousting where we're trying to see what's there, you know? What is in Oscar's mind? What is in Jayson's mind? And me and you really take our time, and that's why there's like a very interesting back and forth. That's just my theory.
For me, it's not really that. I just talk to you because you're available to talk.
But you still haven't answered.
For me, that's the main point. Like most people wouldn't want to talk for 1 hour, 2 hours, you know. So hey, but Jason's available. Okay, so fuck it, let's talk.
But that doesn't really answer why we get into the conversations or the topics we get into. Most people can talk for an hour, but I don't know. Maybe somebody would talk about like. To be fair, we have done that too.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about pretty much everything. I would say almost every. I mean, yeah, quite a lot. Okay, not everything. That's obviously a lie. But we talked about quite a lot of things, right?
We have talked about quite a lot of things.
Yeah. But like for me, like there's no philosophical quest for me. That's because hey, Jason is available to talk. Really, that's my real reason. You're available to talk. That's it. Let's talk.
And what I was trying to say that was that me and you, we argue about things, and we test each other. We try to challenge each other. When Oscar says A, I don't necessarily just say okay.
Okay, I see.
And you do the same thing when I say B, right? You don't necessarily just say okay. You try to see like, okay, what does Jayson really mean by B? Can you explain more? What do you mean, right? And that's what I meant by like the whole jousting thing. We're just like kind of challenging each other to sort of like bring out what is there.
I get.
You have to see that, right? Whenever we talk, you're trying to. You ask me questions, I ask you questions. Questions where it's just like, if me and you were just like, whatever, right? We'd let things go very fast. Oh, Oscar says that this week he learned A and B. Okay, and I just got like whatever.
Oh, okay. Going back to this week, or rather, let me say last week, right? So on certain night, I came to spend. So I'm going to be staying with our friend Mindo until the 20th of this month, right?
And he's also. Oh, I was about to say something really bad.
No, don't. Can't be talking about random people over here, man.
I'm just saying, you
Anyway,
guys are more than friends. That's what I'm saying.
what do you? Okay, I don't understand. Anyway, but maybe you can tell me later. You can tell me later. Anyway, the point is like I'm gonna stay with Mindo until the 20th of this month, right? On
Right.
Saturday last week, a friend of his invited us to go drinking with him, and the guy he's an American guy. He owns his own school in this town. So he was like, okay, let's go to a snack. And have you ever been to a snack, Jason?
A couple of times now. I actually find
So
them
now-
more entertaining than normal bars.
Now let me say this. Snack literally comes from the English word snack, like crisps, like cookies, snack, you know? Literally, that's the word, right?
I like the way you said crisps because we British English, but yes, chips.
Okay, yeah. So I was in this snack, right? And there are these older women. They're mid-40s or whatever, right? Who are serving us drinks and stuff. And the job of these women is not only to serve you drinks, but to sit down with you and talk with you and give you a good time. Just talking. They're giving you a good time with conversation, right? And there was a party, a bunch of Japanese men, also middle-aged men, right? And some of them will just grab these women's skirts and just pull them up, just like as a joke, right?
What?
And the women will do nothing, just laugh. And I was thinking about this. What confidence does it take for a woman to do this kind of job, whereby you know this man might pull my skirt up, but I know that's as far as it will go, right? And I was thinking, can this kind of business model ever work in Kenya, whereby
No.
you have women who are trying to get the men drunk while they're also drinking with you, you know? Because the women in the snack, they also get as drunk as the customers, right? And they're supposed to be the waitresses, right? But
Sometimes.
nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. The men never assault the women. No one is ever kicked out because of doing anything crazy, as far as I know. Right? And I was like, will this business, because I imagine like we were there for an hour, right?
Mhm.
It was Nomi Hode, which means all you can drink for 1 hour. And it was only 2,000 yen. So 2,000 shillings, $20, right?
Uh-huh.
So, and the women who are with us, they're in their mid-40s, but they're actually quite attractive women. They were drinking as much as we were drinking. They just like keep trying to keep up with us, right?
Uh-huh.
And they got pretty wasted. And actually, one woman just fell asleep on Mindo's shoulder. Just fell asleep on him. That's how drunk she was. And I was imagining, will this model ever work in Kenya?
So, there are places that are definitely where it's like what the waitresses are there to like be like the hostesses more than waitresses, really. They're there to make sure you have
hostesses, yeah.
they're there to make you have a good time.
Mm.
But the part about the physical touching was just like, okay, that would not fly in most places in Nairobi. I don't think that would fly.
You can't. No. Like, here's the thing. This is what I believe. You can't have a shop where all the customers are drunk men and all the staff are women who are also drinking. That can't happen in Kenya. That's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for disaster.
Sounds like, yeah, it's a bad plan. This sounds like a very bad plan.
Yeah.
Especially once you add the alcohol part. Oh my god.
Exactly. And can you imagine? And the business model for this kind of business is like all you can drink for this amount of time. All you can drink.
Oh yeah, and I forgot about adding that part. Like it's all you can drink. Oh my god, that place will be locked down in months.
Months, like a week. I give it a week. Never again.
I'm being generous. I think 4 months, like 3 months.
So?
Yeah, I think you can make it work for 3-4 months.
Think about this. Think about like a bunch of USAE students going to such a shop in Nairobi.
Then you add the Nigerians. Okay, that sounds.
I'm not even going to mention anyone. I'm just saying USAE students.
For people who don't know, the Nigerians in our university are like infamous for being, when they're drunk, they're very nice people actually. I don't think I met one bad Nigerian in USIU, like a bad person. But when they were drunk, they were like literally the most rowdiest people I've ever seen.
Oh, okay, I've never seen that. I've heard those stories. I've actually never seen it myself.
Which part of Roysambu were you living in? That's right.
I was living in Roysambu. I was living in Rema. Off the side there.
Where I was basically living in this residential area, and like calling it a residential area is even like
It's a slum, bro. You're living in a goddamn slum.
Slum is also a little bit on the
Okay, of
extreme
course, I'm
side.
joking. That's a very big exaggeration. It's not a slum, but I'm just.
Let's just say the best way I can describe it is a residential area full of students and families. There were lots of Nigerians living around us.
Mm.
Other Africans from different countries too, but like Nigerians were always the ones that were like, you can hear them because they're always like the loudest. And
Yeah.
this is not like a stereotype. I know it's also a joke and a stereotype too, but like there's some real truth to it because I have literally seen it. It's very much my experience, so I can defend it. So like Nigerians, and then you add that like all you can drink, man. It's really bad.
And also, the horses are also drinking.
So
The horses are also
now if they have that like, if there's that feeling of like, oh, I'm attracted to this person
exactly.
when they're sober. Imagine when they're drunk, and it's like,
But think about this. Even in these snacks in Japan, right? The men obviously find these women who are working there attractive, right? Because the women they dress in a way that is attractive for most men, right? They wear the short skirts, the
I don't
nice
know.
stockings.
I don't know,
Well,
man.
I mean, in Japan, I've been to a snack before a couple of times, and I'm telling you, the women also dressing in a way that most men will find attractive, right?
Japanese
Otherwise,
man, right?
Most men wouldn't go to a snack if you know all the staff that work there are unattractive people, right? You probably wouldn't want to go there, right? Why would I go there, right? Because the point of a snack is talking to this attractive woman who is going to listen to your stories, maybe have some interesting stories of her own, right?
Is that true? Okay, to be fair, like the snacks I've been to, there's just a lot of like mature people there in general. There's no young people there.
No, exactly. There are no young people in the snacks. It's usually mature men, right? But even these mature men find these hostesses attractive, or at the very least, attractive, just attractive. And that's why they drink up with them, and they're willing to buy them more drinks. Drink up with us, right? So that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because these hostesses are not drinking for free. They only drink if the customer buys them drinks, right? And if you buy them a drink, they will keep drinking until you say stop.
Or they feel like they like you and they buy you a drink.
Yeah, but that's a rare occasion. That's not a common thing. That's a rare occasion.
It's happened to me a few times, so
but you're a foreigner. That's what I'm saying. That's most Japanese people don't experience that.
Okay, yeah, now you're right.
Yeah, so I'm saying like, if I have a woman next to me and she's the hostess and I keep buying her drinks over and over again, she won't stop drinking until I tell her you've had enough, or like, I'm not buying anymore, right?
It is her job to entertain me.
It's her job is to drink. That's literally her job, to drink. Half of her job is drinking, right?
Okay.
Because things only get interesting. No, of course, I don't think everyone is going there. I think most people, of course, because they're mature men, they go there knowing there's no way I'm living here with sex, right? Sex is probably the last thing that's going to happen here, right?
Yep.
But the conversation or the night just gets more fun if we are both drunk or both parties are drunk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the men will buy more drinks for the hostesses, more and more drinks, right? Now, will this work in Kenya whereby, think about this. You go out with a girl, right? And maybe you want to get her tipsy so you can talk more. Maybe take her home, right? Which is maybe it's not the best thing, but men tend to want to do those things, right? And the woman who you've gone out with doesn't stop drinking until you tell her stop, right? Now, if this was the case in Kenya, whereby I'm with a hostess and the hostess won't stop drinking until I'm the one to say, okay, I'm not buying any more drinks for you, right? How many men in Kenya will try to take advantage of that situation? Let me just keep buying more and more and more for her until she's drunk enough for me to take her home. In Japan, maybe there's an unwritten code whereby the men know, okay, she's working. Let me just give her 1 or 2 drinks. It's done.
Kenya has savages. I'll be honest. Yeah. Kenya has absolute savage man.
I've seen moments in Kenya whereby a girl is refusing to drink and the man will be like, kunywa too, like just drink, Dude, she said, no, I don't know, just drink.
Kenyan man, where yeah. Actually, I am definitely on the passive side. Like Kenyan man, Oscar, you're definitely more of the aggressive side than me.
No, actually, I'm not. Actually, hey, when I hear no, I'm done. I'll go home and jack off. And I hear no, I'm done.
Really? No, there's some
Yeah,
instances where I've seen you be more aggressive than what I would do. But I think, yeah,
okay.
maybe both of us are definitely on the path. We know what, like, most Kenyan men are like. Even most is okay, maybe just say there's a lot of Kenyan men who act that way.
I mean, it's part of our culture, Like I think we have that kind of macho culture,
Is it
whereby
macho
like
or is it like courting? Like the guy, it's all up on the guy. It's the responsibility of the guy to do the all of the courting in
yeah,
Kenya.
yeah. I think okay. Let's say up until now, I think I would say that's been the case, but I'm not sure if that's the case anymore. I mean, like if you and I we're not really like that, so maybe that's not the case anymore. But I have seen such things.
I think I've just accepted I'm kind of an awkward fuck, so it is
No, no,
what
no.
it is.
Me too, man. I'm awkward. I'm very awkward in social situations. Extremely awkward.
And somehow I've been able to grow a charm out of that shit. So now here I am.
Yeah, it always works out. Things always work out in the end. Things always work out.
Apologies to my future wife. um. Anyway, so you know what's funny? I got this hit of nostalgia when you started talking about like drinking in Nairobi.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, drinking in Nairobi versus drinking in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
In Japan, I've been drinking more,
Mm-hmm.
but it's become more normalized, which is very weird for me because I always felt like drinking was very much like one of those things I did to completely let go of steam. It was like a relaxing partying type thing. I don't know if it's because I'm working a lot more than usual.
Yeah, it's not only that. I mean, we live in a culture whereby drinking is it's strange to say I don't drink in Japan, right? That would be the strange thing.
Very strange. Actually, you're right.
Yeah.
It's very strange to say that. Even the
And
people who don't drink,
they don't really say that. They wouldn't really say that. They'll say, I drink a bit.
I literally have a coworker who does not have very specific proteins in her body to break down alcohol properly. She has a specific condition that makes her more drunk than an average person with less alcohol, and she drinks. She'll drink like, for me, man, let's say for us, like 3 beers gets us drunk, right? For her, like half a glass of beer will get her drunk,
Okay.
something like that, right? And she still drinks because she has to.
Yeah. Like in Kenya, there's a hypocrisy to the culture. I will say this based on my experience, whereby people who I know drink will tell me, Oscar, don't drink. Drinking is bad. Why would you tell me that? I saw you drunk last week, dude. Why are you telling me this? And it's a norm in Kenya for people to tell you, hey, dude, don't drink. Drinking is bad. And they go, like, people actually preach this. Drinking is bad. When they're drinking every other weekend.
Oof, I don't even know where to start with that one. That's just Kenyan culture for you, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's Kenya. We are a pious and okay. Let me not say everyone. From my experience, Kenya is a pious and hypocritical culture. From my experience.
Well, we did talk about how Kenyan culture doesn't really exist. It's all this mixed weird, like it's a mixture of like ideas that we kind of understand and we've kind of accepted, and a little bit of the British system that we've just learnt over time. So it's a mishmash of like, it's like if you did homework, Oscar, you had like a report to do, and you copy pasted from Wikipedia, and then you put your own unedited ideas into that report too. So it's just like a complete fucking cesspool. Like of just a mismatch of like what's real and what works and what doesn't, what's from your mind. It's a bit of a mess. Our culture it's a little bit all over the place.
It is what it is. That's what Kenya is. Kenya, it is what it is. What's Kenyan culture? It is what it is.
And somehow we found a way to make it work.
Are we really though? Are we really making it work though? Really?
We haven't killed
Really?
ourselves yet,
Because
so we're
like
making
last
it
week we
work.
talked about like you look at Kenyan news more. This past week I've been looking at Kenyan news, and I'm like, that place is falling apart. That place is, that place is actually falling apart.
I think the exact same things too. I'm just like, where is this country going? My God.
No.
My God. I'm just
No,
like, can the
I'm
young
so
people
serious.
take over quickly?
Like this past week, I've just been looking at random articles about Kenya, and the more articles I see, the more I feel like, okay, actually, we're done. It's finished. It's finished now.
No,
It's
we're never done until we're done.
Huh? Jason, the first lady is singing already. The first lady is singing. We're done. Okay, maybe I'm just exaggerating, but still, like when I read the media, when I see the Kenyan media, I'm like, okay, how the fuck is this thing? How the fuck is everything still working? You know, how the fuck is everything still working?
Exactly.
How
That's
do
what
we
I'm
still have
thinking.
lights? How are the lights still on?
That goes to show you how resilient this mishmash of a system that we have is. Like, how amazing it is. It's miraculous that we're still here. That's why I'm like, we're not done yet. We're still here.
You know, here's the thing: miracles are always good. But sometimes,
I like that you
the
said
fact that
miracles.
there's a miracle. The fact that there's a miracle means there was a big problem to begin with, right? It's a miracle that a guy who eats McDonald's every day, drinks every day, smokes every day, is still living. It's a fucking miracle. But it's not a good miracle. It's like, dude, you need to stop doing that shit, you know? Right?
But it's still a testament to how resilient the human body is. If the guy
No,
can
it's
drink,
a testament. It's a testament to God. That's a testament to fucking God. Nothing. Like it's God. It's God that's holding this shit together.
okay.
Hey, I'm not a big Christian, but there are moments where I'm like, hey, like I'm just gonna raise my hands up and say it's God. It's God. This is God.
Okay.
And when I see Kenyan media, I'm like, okay, this is just God. The fact that this thing is still alive, okay, this is God. We have to say every Kenyan needs to go to church or the mosque or the temple, go and say thank you, because things are falling apart, brother. Things are falling apart.
Things fall apart. That is the episode title. Things. But no, we really have things happen. So it has to be.
This episode is called. Literally, we came up with the episode like 30 minutes ago. Basically, this podcast is trash. This podcast is trash.
Okay. So you know it's funny because this is like a very long tangent. Because originally what I wanted to talk about was the idea of like the upper layers of our consciousness. That's the part that hosts the program Oscar or hosts the program that is Jayson. That doesn't exist. That is like the ideas that we've. You know what? Let me just use an analogy because at this point it's getting a little bit too complicated. And the idea in my mind is to me it's very clear. So Noah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the story of Noah?
Yep. Yes, I do, sir.
And he used the ark to save. How many animals was it?
I guess all the animals.
All the animals in the world.
Male and female of all species living on the planet.
Yeah. So taking that analogy, I would like to say that it's almost as if we've all like inherited an arc of sorts from our
sorry.
grandfathers.
I'm gonna cut you short. Let me cut you short because I thought of something really funny. There's an episode of Family Guy when they reference Noah's Ark, and Noah goes to the basement of the ark, and there's a penguin next to an elephant, and in between them there's a penguin with an elephant's head. And Noah is asking the penguin elephant, "What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?"
I know that exact joke because that was recommended to me a few months ago, and I even remember watching that episode. That was very funny. Anyway,
What the fuck is this? What is this?
Point is, that arc, right? We all inherit arcs from our grandfathers and our fathers, right? That arc being culture conditioning, the ideas that you learn in in your childhood, the framework in which you use to like orientate yourself in the world and view what is most valuable in your life. That is the arc that you've inherited from your father. Your father inherited that from your grandfather, right? Those are just all those ideas. It's an arc, right? And that arc is so big, Oscar, because it stretches so far into like, I don't know how many generations your family is, but like let's just say up until this point, you know, we have many generations because we're here, right? Up until like the dawn of human civilization or human existence itself, right? We have all of those arcs that have cumulated to form the arc that is Oscar right now. And you don't even know what that arc is protecting you from, right? Because remember, the arc was created by Noah to protect you from the catastrophe, right?
Mm-hmm.
The great, was it a tsunami? A flood? It was a flood, right?
Yeah.
And that flood is basically the catastrophe of life, the suffering. So you have this lessons that is the arc that you've learned from your father and his forefathers,
Mm-hmm.
and that protects you from the catastrophe that is life, and it orientates you, and it helps you guide you through the rough waters and prevents you from drowning. And what some of the amazing things is that that arc stops you from drowning, but sometimes it's not even clear to you, the person who's in the arc, right, what it is protecting you from. Does that make sense? That's how big it is. That's how deep and massive it is. It's like this huge gigantic boat, if you want to think about it like that. Let's think of it like this. When you're a kid, right,
Mm-hmm.
you learn things that you don't even know why you have to learn, right? Maybe later down the line it becomes more obvious why the value of that specific lesson or whatever dad or mom was trying to teach me makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the same way. There's things that even me and you have learned through social conditioning that we probably don't even understand why it's in our minds. There's things that we've just picked up from being, like, whatever it is, from being in Kenya, being in Japan. That's our social conditioning. So there's bulwark there protecting us from things that we don't even understand. And we don't even know if we will ever understand it, right?
Yeah.
So it's now talking about all that. It's like, it's still not your arc. Does that make sense? That arc that we've inherited, it's not ours.
I'll go back to this idea that culture is larger than one man. Tradition is larger than one man, right? And there are people who stand at the doors, or rather at the throne that is culture and society and tradition. Maybe the forefathers, the elders of the tribe, right?
Uh-huh.
Who claim to understand what the culture is, but even they don't really understand. They just try to hold the stitching in place, right?
So they've inherited, using my analogy too, just they've inherited the arc without knowing why they need the arc in the first place,
Exactly.
right?
No one really knows. And that's why people bicker, like, oh, my culture is right by doing so and so, and your culture is wrong by not doing so and so, right? But it's like, hey, if both cultures have come this far, it means that whatever they're doing does work.
The basic
But then
idea is
it
to
go-
prevent you, the individual, from drowning in the flood.
It's not even the individual. Like, the individual is really nothing.
Well, no,
The individual
the point is
is
that
just-
when your mom and dad are teaching you these things, right,
Mhm.
is to prevent you from drowning. Let's not get too abstract about it. In that specific moment, when your mom and dad are teaching you, let's say, the benefits of why you should treat people the same way you'd want to be treated yourself,
Mm-mm.
they're trying to bestow on you an important life lesson that will guide you throughout the world.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's not get into why the individual doesn't exist just quite yet. I feel like that's another deeper talk. But up until now, are you following me? Are you following the analogy?
I get you.
Okay, so now we can go to the individual. That's why I was just like, so if this arc isn't mine, it's not of my own creation, right?
Mm.
It's of my culture, it's of my history, it's of my father's culture, history, it's all these, it's a culmination of all these different ideas and different places that I don't even understand. Even like the language, Oscar. Like, you're using language, like me and you are using the English language, or we could talk in Japanese or Kiswahili, right? And it's like, we don't even know where these words came from. That is the arc right there. That is like, your forefathers have passed that tool down to you, and we don't even know where it came from. Isn't that insane? We know nothing about its roots and its origins. Like I said, it could go back thousands of years, right? Literally. And we're just here, just chilling. Like, we don't know. We don't know what it protects us from. We don't know why we use it and why it's important to use it.
And I don't think we need to know. I don't think we need to know.
You don't think we need to know?
I don't think we need to know. It's working. Why question or say it's not working?
And that's why,
It works. You understand what I'm saying? Your culture has raised you to be the kind of person you are. You are working. The individual suggestion seems to work just fine. Your program is working just fine. Why question the programming now?
So now, what happens when the arc is faulty and it seems to be harming the individual instead of protecting it?
Like going back to the idea that tradition is willfully blind, right? Tradition, because tradition just wants to maintain something that is, but it takes the power or the arrogance and ignorance of youth to show tradition what it's failing to see, right?
Right.
When the system is failing you, the individual, but it will take more than than culture failing one person for culture to change. Culture needs to fail a bunch of people in order for the culture for it to change, right?
Right.
Like if going back to the topic of homosexuality, we come from a culture that says that's wrong, right? That's bad. It's a sin.
And that's
right?
one of the cases where I bring up. In that case, if the individual within the arc is a homosexual, the arc itself wouldn't be as useful to you because that's not an idea that has been built in to the culture.
Exactly, but now if it's only one person who's homosexual, then you're just cast out. You're an outcast now.
And you drown in the waters. You drown in the flood.
You drown, right?
Yeah.
But if there's a bunch of people who are homosexuals, then now we need to restructure this arc. We have to restructure everything. So these people who are a part of us, they are our families, our friends, our relatives, they need to be on this arc with us. Right? But if it's only one person who's gay, okay, let him drown. That's fine. We'll move on.
Yeah.
I
was just we'll end it on this, right? Going to what you're saying. So when I was thinking about like Jayson not being real, or Oscar, the program Oscar not being real, it's the idea of like, if all of these things that I'm thinking about are a consequence of are like all the ideas that I have are built from this inherited arc, then I have there's no idea that's born from Jayson the individual. There's none. It's me building things or even stealing things from other people's arcs, and arcs that I've been given, that have been bestowed upon me. These ideas that have been bestowed.
Stealing. There is no such thing as stealing in this case. You're just absorbing the things that are around you. That's not stealing. It's photosynthesis. There's no stealing.
Okay, but I do get your point. Yes.
Yeah, it's not stealing because hey, if you're stealing, then who is there any other individual on this planet who has purely and truly original ideas? Is there one person who has ideas that are so pure that no other human being can ever understand why they will come to that conclusion?
Okay, so maybe stealing was the wrong word to use, but
it's photosynthesis. It's not stealing.
Let's just say I want to find the barriers and the boundaries that separate the individual and the person and the soul that is experiencing versus the arc. Does that make sense? I don't even know if those lines exist, but that came with the idea of like, I need to empty my cup because this arc is fucking huge. And I get lost every time trying to look into it. And it's just like, no. When I look into it, I feel lost. It's like staring into an abyss. It's like, no, man. Let's get rid of everything. Not get rid of anything. Let's just not look at everything. Let's just focus on what's in front of us.
Exactly. So maybe I would say this. There is no cup to empty. There is no cup to empty.
It's a saying. It's not literally a cup, but you know what I mean.
I know, of course. Of course, not a damn cup. Come on, there is no cup to empty because the cup is you and everything that makes you you. Your culture, your experiences, the loop you and the boredom you feel at work. That's the cup. There's nothing in the cup. You by you believing there's something in the cup, you're the one who's asking pressure to your own life. But there's nothing in the cup.
Right.
Because the cup is just everything. The cup is just everything.
And to be honest, even when you're trying to practice that idea of emptying your cup and being aware of what's happening now and trying to see what is the the base. Okay, if existence, let's think of existence as a pattern, right? Let's find the base pattern of being, which is to say that the pattern that
That's
is
your breath.
separated,
Your breath.
yes, that is
Your breath.
separated from the arc,
Your
right,
breath.
or the
Your breathing.
culture
That's
and
it.
everything. That it's like finding that base pattern of existence is so hard because of the noise that has been added to it. Me and you aren't even good enough. Like Oscar, like you, like even you need to be like somebody who's been meditating for a very long time, or some sort of like a person who's truly able to like peer into their own consciousness. I don't know what that kind of journey would be like, but I'm just imagining what that could be like.
I actually don't know. Like all of these things, like unless you practice, you'll never find out. We'll never find out. The only way to know for sure, like there's no philosophizing about this. The philosophy only adds more drama to the system, you know. Just do it. Just do it. That's the only way to find out.
And on that bombshell, it's time to end the podcast. So
Okay.
goodbye, everyone.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Good night.